To begin with, whilst Nixon didn't always follow public opinion, he was particularly concerned with appearing that he would not bow to popular sentiment. He did see the importance of it. As such, he set up a large polling network as an attempt to control and monitor public opinion and use it to undermine his opposition and increase support for his later policies of intensified firepower with the withdrawal of ground forces. To this end, Nixon manipulated polls with loaded questions and played heavily on the American public and the silent majority and the dislike for anti-war protesters. Some historians, such as Katz, argues that the Vietnam War eventually became an issue of public relations and opinion to Nixon rather than a military issue. This was because of the effect that public opinion had in limiting Nixon. For example, his pursued policy of honorable peace and limiting his aggressive actions and mass bombing campaigns. Some, such as Schreiber and McCulloch, argue that the Vietnam War protests show no evidence of affecting or changing of public opinion towards the Vietnam War. The protesters neither educated nor persuaded the general public in either the short or long term. Schreiber in particular emphasizes the overtly negative public perception of the anti-war protesters as a large reason towards their marked lack of impact. He also argues along the lines that the protesters presented Vietnam as a moral and emotional struggle, whilst the American public saw it as a pragmatic and military struggle. As such, they opposed the war for different reasons, rendering the anti-war protest ineffectual, even if American opinion did change. Some, such as McCulloch, argue the anti-war movement came close to achieving its aims during the 1968 presidential election, but the assassination of Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy undermined the peace movement and allowed the war to continue for 6 more years. As such, he argues the anti-war movement played little direct part in ending the war, and that the end was mainly brought about by public opinion and by Congress blocking further US involvement once the Paris Peace Agreement had been signed.